If there's one question that's being asked over and over again in the community right now, it is, what is the future of Elite Dangerous Odyssey? Personally, I don't know, but today we're going to talk about what we do know and what we can kind of deduct. Today's video is sponsored by SecretLab. We all strive for the best possible gaming experience, but the importance of a good quality chair is often underestimated. SecretLab produces some of the most comfortable and high quality gaming chairs you can get. So upgrade your commander chair today and fly in style and comfort. Follow the link in the video description to their store, type in your height, your weight, and it will tell you which chairs fit you for the best possible seating experience. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous with Astronomy. Today I want to talk about Odyssey and I want to talk about what we know about the future. But this video is not going to be. It's not going to be speculations. It's not going to be guesses and wishes and dreams or anything like that. Today we're going to be looking at hard facts. What are the stuff we can find in game that kind of point in direction of what we're going to see in the future? And what kind of statistic, what kind of numbers can we pull out, and how can we use that to kind of paint a picture of the future of Odyssey? I want to start by talking about what little we know about future content coming to Elite Dangerous. For instance, if you go into any weapon vendor in the game and you have the little filter option where you can filter by manufacturer, you will notice that there are two manufacturers listed here in the filter that is currently not in the game, that do not have any weapons for sale anywhere, at least that I know of. This indicates that at least at some point Frontier has intended to put in more weapons. My guess is that these weapon windows are intended to either come out later, or maybe they were cut in order to reduce scope, so reach the deadline for the Odyssey launch. I don't know. But at least it seems, and I think it would be a fair assumption, that we are going to see at least two new vendors or two new manufacturers of weapons coming into Odyssey at some point in the future. When, I have no idea, but at some point it would be fair to assume that that is what's going to be here. Now you might also remember, if you look back a while, that there was a mission category on the mission board, for the on-foot missions I should say, that lists Thargoid missions, indicating that, again, we don't know if this is something that's been cut, that they're not going to introduce anyway, but it is indicating that they at some point had intended to add some kind of on-foot Thargoid missions. So based on that, I think it is fair to assume that there's going to be Thargoid combat at some point. Again, we don't know when, we don't know if this is cut content or if it's just been intended for later use. So when it comes to future content, that is about as much as we know at this point in time. However, you probably couldn't make a video like this talking about the future of Odyssey without talking about player numbers. And I've been collecting some data and I've been doing some statistics that I want to share with you guys. The first little visual I will show you here is the dtea community opinion on Odyssey taking over time. So pretty much since before the alpha started, I've been asking the same question on my community tab, asking people what their overall opinion of Odyssey is: positive, neutral, or negative. And I've then done this through the different phases that we had in the alpha. I asked people at launch and I asked people after update 5 what people thought of Odyssey. And as you can see here on the graph, it's pretty clear that the number of people who were positive has been steadily declining, while the number of people with a negative view of Odyssey has been increasing. The number of neutral people, funnily enough, seems to be pretty stable. I have a feeling that a large portion of the neutral crowd could be the console players who still do not have access to Odyssey. I should probably say that this video is recorded on the 8th of July. So if we have information coming out after this day, obviously it won't be included in this video. But how has this negative opinion of Odyssey affected the overall player community? Well, the numbers that everybody's referring to is, of course, the Steam charts where you can see the daily number of players. And I've been taking the peak concurrent players every day since the launch of Odyssey. And I've normalized this graph, as you can see here, to the average peak concurrent number of players per day that we saw in the month leading up to Odyssey. So we're taking the whole month leading up, I made an average, and that is what's representing 100% here. So we can kind of see right at the launch here on the 19th, we saw a initial peak all the way up to 2.5 times, or 250%, the average number of players that we saw before. After that, it has been a steady decline in player numbers. You can see the little orange stars here indicating when we got update 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, just in case. I don't feel like they have a huge impact on player numbers, it seems. The little peaks you can see right after the updates is often because the update would come out on a Thursday, and then you would have the peaks with number increasing on Sunday and Saturday, obviously. So this is just the weekly variance that you can see here. Now, if we try to fit a trend line to this to kind of get a feeling for how this is going to evolve in the future, I get something like this. Now, this is not the best trend line, I will admit, that I've ever fitted, but hopefully it's going to be good enough to give a rough estimate of where we are. These numbers are going to be super uncertain, but this is just a best guess for how the number of players is going to evolve over time. And as we can see, compared to prior to Odyssey, by the end of this month, it looks like we're going to be hitting around 30% of the player base compared to what we had prior. These numbers here are built on Steam charts, and that means these are only people playing on Steam. This means that the numbers are skewed, obviously because we have people playing with the standalone launcher, we have people playing on Epic, and we of course also have the console people playing on either PlayStation or Xbox. So we are only seeing a subsection of the community, and it would be fair to assume that we are seeing a larger churn for people playing on PC than we would for people playing on console. So more people are most likely leaving the game from PC than from console. Since, of course, the console players haven't had the Odyssey experience yet, something that is, at the time of this recording, still scheduled for the autumn of this year, but there were some kind of indications in Developer Update 1 that they may have to delay that, but we haven't had that officially announced yet. Now, so I wanted to see if I could find a way to get rid of this bias that is naturally in the Steam data, and I thought, where can I get access to this? And then I realized that I have access to this data through Commander's Toolbox. I'm assuming here, of course, that the users of Commander's Toolbox are evenly distributed across PC and consoles and the different launchers and all that stuff, so that there's a broad user base across the whole community. So what you see here is the number of unique visitors since January 1st, 2001, going all the way up to today. You can't use this last data point here because this is of course today, and obviously today is not over, so therefore this data point here is a little lower than you would expect. Overall, here we can see the development of the unique number of visitors on Commander's Toolbox every day this year. We can, for instance, see the launch of Odyssey right here. We can see there's a dip because obviously the servers were down most days, so people wouldn't log in and play the game because they couldn't, and therefore I have fewer visitors. But we can see here in the days leading up to the launch, I would often have around 2,000, a little bit over 2,000 unique visitors every day coming by Commander's Toolbox. We can see, of course, a spike right after the Odyssey launch that everybody is logging in, playing the game. And then we begin to see a steady drop to where we are now with around 1,500 visitors coming by Commander's Toolbox every day. Now this is around a 25% drop in unique viewers. Now this is about a 25% drop in unique visitors every day. This, of course, is a bit of a contrast to the graph we showed before, where it already looked like the community has been cut in half. This tells me that the Steam charts are probably skewed as I assumed, and I think these are actually more reliable numbers than what we see off Steam. So it seems like 25 to 30% of the viewer base has probably gone somewhere else. Question, of course, is where have they gone? Now the natural guess would be that they've gone to some of the other competitors, being Star Citizen or No Man's Sky. So I asked that question exactly. I asked which of Elite Dangerous, Star Citizen or No Man's Sky have people been playing the most? A lot of people seem to misunderstand the question. Didn't ask what game you've been playing the most. I asked what of those three have you been playing the most. So there might be a little bit of pollution of the data there, but it seems to be relatively clear that, again, about 30% seem to have gone away from Elite, assuming that the vast majority of the people watching my channel and applying these polls, of course, are interested in Elite Dangerous and are here because of Elite Dangerous. And we can see that it's about an even split between Star Citizen and No Man's Sky. And I know this doesn't sum up to 100, but that is because YouTube has rounding errors. So that left me with just one final question I wanted to answer. And that is that those people who are no longer logging in and playing, have they abandoned Elite? Because just because they're not playing doesn't mean that they haven't abandoned it. It can just mean that they don't want to play right now because of the state of Odyssey and because of all the, What I wanted to figure out was, have people just completely said, nope, I'm not even going to bother with the game anymore and walked away? Or are they just playing other things while watching from the side, hoping for things to get better? So to answer that question, I turn to my YouTube analytics statistics. Here you see my daily number of views over this year. We can see some clear peaks here. You have the launch of the Odyssey Alpha the first day. It streamed for quite a while and lots of people came by the stream, so we have a huge peak there. The other peak here being on the 19th with the launch of Odyssey. So clearly we can see those two events happening here and here. We can also see the general baseline hasn't changed much. We're not seeing that same drastic drop, at least not in my overall viewer numbers, than we do in the player numbers. So that tells me two things. It could be two different reasons why this is happening. One reason could be that the majority of the videos I've been posting lately has not been the usual guides, tutorials, and how-to videos, because they're performing noticeably worse than they otherwise would. I have done a few engineer unlock guides, they're just not performing, people are just not interested. But when I make videos like this one, for instance, where I talk about what's happening with Elite, more news related, and these kind of videos, people are much more interested in that. So that tells me that the assumption I have that a lot of the people who are gone from Elite are not actually gone yet. They're playing other things, they don't bother with Odyssey right now, but they're still keeping an eye on it, hoping that things are gonna get better. Now, obviously, people are not gonna sit and wait forever. At some point, as people begin to play other games, they are eventually going to actually abandon Elite and begin to stick with that game and never come back. So, Frontier is definitely running on borrowed time right now. Now, I said there were two reasons why we could have this effect of a relatively constant viewer numbers, even though the players are not there. And the other one could be that I, of course, also have been diversifying more. I've been posting more Star Citizen content, and as we saw, a relatively large number of people have migrated over in that direction, is now playing and enjoying Star Citizen instead of Elite. So that, of course, also helps pull some of those viewers that may not be interested in Elite at all, who has actually abandoned Elite, keep those engaged because they are now playing something else that I'm also covering. Now I have one final graph I want to share with you guys, and this is this one here. Here you can see the number of people watching my channel in blue who are not subscribed and in green who are subscribed. So you can see that only about a third of people who are watching the channel is actually subscribed. Now I would really like to see those two graphs swap over, so if you want to help out, go down and subscribe to the channel below. Thanks a lot for watching. I really hope you found this video interesting. If you did, I would really appreciate it if you would give it a like. And also next time, I will see you guys in space.